Excellent. So good to have you back with us on the show. And so today we focus on spirituality versus religion, asking among others, what is faith? And is there one true religion? What connects purpose and spirituality? John?
Those are very deep questions, Helen, and I assure you I don't have answers to them.
Okay.
Well, to provide answers to these questions and many others are three guests who can be said to have seen it all in the light of our topic. But before then, Helen, did anything happen in the week? Anything you want to talk about quickly?
Many things happened, John. Mostly disturbing: the mayhem, the killing and abductions in Plateau, in Kaduna, Abuja Highway, Kaduna bringing Gwari for 3 to 4 days, we're told. Also in Ondo State and several others. Questions on the lips of so many people is, when will these be a thing of the past, John?
When will
Worrisome.
all of this stop? For me, it's the return to the country of 158 and then 172 stranded Nigerians in 2 batches within 24 hours from Libya, of all places. To think that they went to Libya in search of greener pastures. Wow, Helen.
Nigeria. We were also reminded within the week that traffic robbers are back on the streets of Lagos. In fact, somebody was sharing her experience with us this morning, and I was so scared. And they have adopted new tactics. So it's December, remember, the last of the ember months, and so we must be extra careful and vigilant.
It's December, remember. Well, removal of fuel subsidy or not in 2022, increase in pump prices or not. The disbursement of 5,000 naira to poor Nigerians as palliatives. We can go on and on, Helen.
But we won't go on, John, because that's not the main focus for our show today. We're looking at spirituality versus religion, and maybe we would be able to get some answers to some of these other issues from this. Let's welcome our very first guest. Mr. Omadeli. Dr. Omadeli Boyo. Omadeli Boyo. Yes. He's a medical director of Pinecrest Specialist Hospital here in Lagos. He's a pastor with almost 40 years experience in the practice of medicine. Good morning. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
You will ask me how come I know the right pronunciation of his name, but I will tell you. So Doctor, you're welcome.
Yeah,
it's good to have you on the show.
Yeah, great to be here.
Happenings in Nigeria.
So
that's how it is.
Okay.
So let's start it off, Doctor, quickly, because we've lost some time, getting on with the show. Now, religion and spirituality are like a pair of Siamese twins. To be, able to start this conversation, where do they meet? Religion and spirituality.
Yeah, they meet in various ways. The first thing is we look at the fathers of the faith, maybe 3 Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. You find that most of the people that we look up to as fathers of the faith were never religious. They were no, when you talk of religion, you talk about a pathway, well-defined pathway to God or the Supreme Being, articles of faith, what you should do and what you should not do. When you look at Abraham, for instance, he was what we call today a pagan, an idol worshiper, and God visited him. And it's going to be very surprising to tell anybody today that God can visit a pagan. I want to use the word pagan because there are so many explanations to that. African traditional religion, people say it's a private way of worshiping God, but whatever it is, God visited this guy and told him to move out of his father's house in the book of Genesis and go to a place I will show you. Okay. And this man just kept moving on. And funny enough, God didn't appear to have seen his idols. And God didn't appear to have seen that the wife had no child. And he just followed God. And he just went on and on and on until he got to a place called the Promised Land, and God said, stay here.
Okay.
But later on in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, when they're talking about people that had faith, his name was mentioned as a man who began to look for a city that has foundations,
Okay.
whose builder and maker is God. Now, he had met God, had walked with God to a place you can call a promised land, an El Dorado of sorts, And yet the Bible says when he got there, he lived there as a pilgrim, looking for a city whose builder and maker is God.
So he was more of a spiritual.
He was more of a spiritual person.
That is it.
And he didn't write anything. He just had an encounter with God. And his children had encounters with God. His grandchildren had encounters with God. And they went on. And it just depended on their understanding and their one-on-one relationship with God that they knew. They called him El Shaddai, El Rafa.
A being greater than them. A being that they couldn't explain.
And the guy up there that won't lie and can see you 24/7, and you have to relate with him on an everyday basis.
So he did not have a religion.
He didn't have a religion.
He didn't have a religion.
So we are the ones that
so
give
the
me
question
religion.
again is, where does religion and spirituality meet?
So religion is really a creation of man.
Okay.
And institutions.
Okay.
Men like to institutionalize things, You have people living together, it's like from a country. And the country never seems to stand because we keep on asking ourselves whether we should belong. And meanwhile, men brought us together. But we all grew up, when we grew up in a family, for instance, you have your father, you have your mother, you have your siblings.
Structures.
Yes, structures are play. In a family, you don't choose your siblings.
Sure.
They just come into your life.
Yeah.
You only choose your wife. After that, other things just work out like that.
Even that.
Your paths just cross.
Okay.
Later on in life, we regret never meeting her. But when you look at the children and look at how far I've gone, you already said I'm going to go through it all together. So spirituality is like that. So the family unit just grows. The language, you don't know how you got to have your language. You learn your language. You learn to love your brother. In fact, you grow up learning to identify that this daddy, this uncle, this mom, this sister. You don't do this with sister. You can
So
do
it's
with
an
friends.
innate thing, and it's a conscious thing, and it's we can't really explain it 101%. But like the chicken and the egg, which one comes first? Which one drives the other? Spirituality or religion?
Yeah, you see, because we live in a world where rules and regulations control every other thing, religion appears to be the driving force of the community. Whereas the truth is the spirituality of a person that defines his religion. But we'll find that the way church, mosque, everything is organized is for you to get into the religion first. People ask you, have you been baptized? What church you go to. They don't want to know whether you're a good person or not. What church you go to. Are you a Muslim? They just look at your name and they see Abdul Rahman. They say, it must be a Muslim. And then, perception is reality. They begin to relate with you that must be a Muslim. They only get to know later that you have that name, but you are not a Muslim. Then they change. So, spirituality should come first. But society gives regards to religion. So, religion is a makeup. Religion is a makeup. You want to do a wedding, you want to look like somebody, you call it a makeup artist and they make you up. Yeah, okay. But spirituality is who you want to be, your experience, your understanding, your hunger for God or the supernatural and how you want to do it. So in spirituality, it's like character and personality. Character is who you are when no one is looking at you in the private, in the dark. And personality, from the word persona, is charisma, who you want people to see you to be. Wow. And so you present yourself so people can accept you as a banker, you dress like a banker, you talk like a banker. So that man must be a banker, the way he's talking, He must be a doctor. Can't you see with a tie and a stethoscope? He will not be a doctor, he will be a mechanic. Because he's wearing a white coat, having a tie and a stethoscope, and you say he must be a doctor. So religion is more of a facade. And we all love it because it's like what Karl Marx would say, an opium. It's an opium of the masses. So even the government can use religion to hoodwink us, But when you have spirituality, you know where you're going. And you enjoy your life because you understand who you are. And you understand where you are going in life. You don't look at it from the concept of being a Muslim or being a Christian. First of all, look at the concept of who am I?
Sure. Okay, Doctor, I like the way you're dismantling all of this. Because, for some of us, we're beginning to see what this whole thing is all about. Is it a shell? and you know, and all of that. But I'd like to ask you. Now, they say that spirituality is a recognition of a feeling or sense of belief, you know, that there is something greater than oneself. What then is faith?
Yeah, we'll go back to the basic issues I mentioned before, the concept of understanding yourself and coming to terms with who you are, character, differentiating it from personality, and understanding that there is a God up there that you have to relate with. Yes. Hebrews 11:1 says, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. That sounds very vague, you know, because how do I want to have evidence of things not seen? But really, there's faith as an adjective. There's faith as a verb. I have faith. Yeah. I belong to a faith. Okay. You know? And so you now ask yourself, which faith are you talking about? To have faith to move mountains, to have a faith I believe in. Are you getting me? Yeah. They're two different things. So when we talk about faith, your spirituality begins to define your capacity. You see, it's spirituality that defines your capacity. Somebody says, I have faith, and you see him praying for the sick and they're getting healed. Right. Are you getting me? And you get up tomorrow and say, oh, we belong to the same religion. But you may not belong to the same spirituality. You know? You will not have the same spirituality. Yeah. So you find out that he says he's praying for the sick and they're getting well, and you get up tomorrow and say, if he can do it, I too can do it. After we go to the same church or we go to the same mosque, and you begin to do it, then it doesn't happen. Wow. Then there are 7 sons of Sceva in the Bible that went to a man that was possessed, and they are saying Paul, casting out demons, and they went there and they said, we adjure you in the name of Jesus, whom Paul preaches, come out. And the Bible said this, the demon said, Paul we know, Jesus we know, who are you? And they descended on the guys and beat them and tore their clothes and they ran on. Now, that is an example of somebody trying to use faith. So he was using faith. You have to have faith. Then you use faith. Yeah. It's like using somebody and having somebody. So if you want to practice, if you want to live, I don't say practice, you can practice religion, but you live a spiritual life. If you're going to live a spiritual life, your relationship with God, your relationship with the supernatural, your relationship with the unseen, being true to what you believe in, even in the dark, in your conscience, yes. When you're alone somewhere, and you are forced to steal, and something inside you says, don't do it. It's wrong. And it's not because people are looking at you. It's not because you want to go to heaven or you want to go to hell. It's simply because my conscience can't stand it. Yeah. Okay.
It's getting more interesting, and we're being told that, well, time is also running. So let's quickly do this, because this is a family show. How do we as family decide on our brand of faith and level of spirituality? And who or what influences this decision? Is it a father, a parent to the children? How does it work? And how does it benefit the family?
First of all, religion. I'll go back to religion again. Religion is defined by parents and the way you are brought up. That's nurturing, nurturing, the way you are nurtured. It also impacts on spirituality. So when you're in a family that is Roman Catholic, you will think that Mary is immaculate, the mother of God, you must pray with Holy Mary. Or you grew up in Islam, a Muslim background, you must think that's the only way to do things. Then you grew up in a Protestant background, you think that's the only way of doing things. So you are now growing up from nurturing. Yeah. So you have been nurtured to believe in certain things. Then life's experience, you begin to have defining moments in life as you are growing up. Either you found out that you were caught stealing. I'll give you a story. The day my grandma caught me stealing 1 shilling then, and I was thoroughly beaten, and I wept so much that my grandma brought a bucket and said I should cry into the bucket. Wow. That I should like to use my tears to take a bath. Oh boy. And I wept and slept off.
And did the bucket get filled?
The bucket never got filled. Then when I woke up the next day, I began to know that you can't take what does not belong to you. Yes. Now, I'm not encouraging somebody being beaten to that level, but it's a kind of, it's only church that taught me that. I knew, queuing up, you don't take what does not belong to you. That's not your cup. That's not your toothbrush. Look, your brother is crying, go and console him. You begin to learn all these things growing up. Now, when those things are not there growing up, even when you get to church as an older person, it becomes very difficult. I was driving today and something came to my mind, why is that we cheat so much? Don't someone wants to enter the front of your car. Yeah. He doesn't want to beg, he wants to push himself in. And people say, let him enter, after all, he's a human being like you. And I said, well, this guy is cheating. Now, there's nothing like cheating in this country. Why? It's hustling. You know, you first to
smart.
come, first
It's
just
not
get
right.
there and get
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
if the way we are all brought up has affected so many, that's why the impact of the church, the mosque, or even the traditional religion is very
Minimal,
not so very minimal.
negligence. Yeah.
What matters is the home. You grow up, the first person you meet in your life is your mom and your father. You begin to look at them as examples in your life.
Yeah.
And begin to know
So
that
they
these
are
people,
your
yeah, they're your influencers. And at the end of the what you become in life begins. That's why DNA now comes in. Are you getting me? Nurture and nature. And now you begin to find out that those things that your parents are doing, you begin to watch them doing it. And it says, practice makes perfect. By the time you parents are not bringing up children very well, they begin to have spirit of entitlement because they believe they should have everything. They've not learned how to work for something. I remember those days going back to school with your list of books, and it's time to return to school, and you want to meet your father for money or things to buy, and that's the most scary moment of life. After network news, your father invites you to the bedroom, and he says, "You want to go to school now.
Okay.
You want your money. Look at the back of my house. Trees don't grow here. Trees that grow here don't grow dollars or naira. Now you want to go back to school. You didn't walk during the holiday. You didn't sweep. You didn't do anything. You were going about the place, those big things, perambulating the town. It's time to get your school fees. Without
Now you're
working,
here.
he who does not work does not eat. Bring your report card. Maths, this. English, this. I'm wasting my money on you. You're going to be a organizer. You're going to be this. By the time you get the money, you feel like one day I just prayed and said, God, can't I get the scholarship and stop meeting this man? But at the end of the day, this means you get to imbibe them.
Yes.
And you grow up knowing that this is how
Yes.
to live in
Yes.
life.
Okay.
Oh, wow. All right.
Doctor, can I just quickly squeeze
Go
something
ahead,
in?
go ahead, John.
If you can
Go
answer
ahead,
that,
John.
because now you've moved me from one place to the other. Okay. Now, when you get to that level, a certain level of spirituality, how do you feel? In 30 seconds?
How do you know you have even reached there?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, the more you grow spiritually, the more you begin to see your emptiness and your foolishness. Spirituality doesn't make you excited about what you are, because you begin to see something better than you, begin to see things that are greater than you in life. Begin to meet people that can think better, people that can do better stuff. You begin to think of people that give out their cars, give out their houses, give out things to the poor, and begin to say, I'm not yet there, I'm not yet there. So in spirituality, there's no way you get to the epitome and say, I've arrived. Each day you learn a little more about yourself. You can't look down on others, because you are reminded every day that you're not yet there. So it's a pursuit of life, pursuit of God.
It's a
continuing thing.
yeah.
Continuing thing. So nobody gets to a point in spirituality and say, I've arrived.
Okay.
Your emptiness just shows before you. Every mistake, the mistakes that you never knew yesterday become great today and begin to regret what you did yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the more you get closer to God, the more you understand that you're very far from Him.
Wow.
Helen.
John gave you 30 seconds. Let me give you another 30 seconds.
Okay.
If you were asked to just give 3, 4, 5 words to capture spirituality versus religion, what would it be? To someone who's just tuning in.
First, love. Spirituality, you love without looking at the color of the person. You just know you are born to love the poor, love the rich, love everybody. 2, spirituality tells you that you don't cheat. You don't hate people. You want to be nice to people, not just nice to God. You want to be nice. So I said love, and that takes peace, that takes joy, and that takes consideration, which is cheating. You want to consider other people. Love your neighbor as yourself. So then faith comes in, because in all this you must also have a faith that God exists and is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him. And it's one that says, if you can't love your neighbor, don't expect me to love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. An excellent point to stop this conversation. Such exposition on spirituality, religion as it relates to faith.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
We
you for
wish we
having
had
me.
more time, but we could do this another time.
But I
available.
promise you, Doctor, I'm
We
going to
could do
get
this
you. I'm
again.
going to get you back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
we move quickly to our next area of concern. Is there one true religion? Dr. Frederick Babatunde Odutola, the 7th Indigenous General Secretary and CEO of Bible Society of Nigeria, will join the conversation after the break. Please don't you go away.